First of all, I want to enhance about my lecture. I titled it as end-to-end. It means I am here depend mainly on how to follow the steps of industry of oil, which is beginning of exploration, appraising, development, and production, analyzing, enhancement, and at last the operation. Already I'm depending on plotting here by cash flow with time. It means we are depend mainly on timetable here. This timetable depends on how much time we spend, or how much money we are going to cost for the benefit of how to produce oil. As you see here, exploration have a limited time, appraising a limited time, and when we do comparison between exploration and production, you see the differences between them. So also here, the curve indicates to the negative money which we are going to spend it here, and on the contrary, while we end the developments, we are here going to how to gain money with this timetable. Already we are first of all, in case we are depending on exploration process, we must depend mainly on how to do our geophysical study. Geophysical study beginning with how to how to use GIS method in viewing exploration and production search to find data across the enterprise. So as you see here, the indications of geophysical study, which is here, depends mainly on the seismicity and how to declare the layers and the formation structures of the earth, which is a copy of this figure. This figure shows stratigraphic columns in order to enable us to do a positive exploration inside content. Also here showing the petroleum system applied to assess hydrocarbon presence risk, and we are highly taking fidelity color. This is the color, as you see, yellow, red color. This defines the high fidelity color and seismic volume render to find subtle geological features on seismic way. For this reason, as I told you before, we must depend mainly on how to do our geophysical study, how to depend the geophysical informations in order to begin with the first stage of exploration, of the right exploration way on our work. So we are here also depend on the core sample, which is recovered from the oil exploration wells. These columns lead to give us an encountered layer on how to make the next steps of exploration. Here we are going to take samples from the source rocks. This is the source rock, which are going to evaluate it. How we can evaluate this type of source rocks? We are depend mainly on vitrinite reflectance in order to indicate the maturity, and here rock eval pyrolysis in order to know something about what we have been gained from either geophysical and geochemical approach. So all these approaches going to answer the same question, whether this area is promising to generate oils or not. And the second one, you ought to know also the environment, the suitable, the systematic environment which is going to produce oil. How can we identify this type of basin? This is already an accumulations of water here, or you can say lagostrines, you can say lakes. This lake may causes affected by faults here. This fault is going to subsidize all the basins, is going to subsidize downwards. At that time, all the water flows which is coming from the continents will be accumulated here. Then, in case of subsidence, there is isolation between the lakes, which is nearby the area, and then year by year and millions by years, the whole environment here is going to convert to an anoxic environment. Anoxic environment means no refreshment, no rivers, no feedings with a freshwater environment. So whole environment is going to be an anoxic environment. It means the hydrogen index increases, oxygen index will be decreased. At that time, all the algae or algal blooms here is going to attack by either aerobic bacteria or anaerobic bacteria, which is going to change all organic matters which is accumulated in these basins, or any sea creatures here, converted it to a promising area for generates oil, and forming this oil shell. Oil shell is the product of the deep deposition and deep accumulations of organic matters, which depends mainly on the type of organic matters. Organic matters is, we have been so many organic matters, which is plant cuticles and spores, pollens, dinoflagellate. All these organic matters which is affected by how it is going to be accumulated and what kind of diagenesis will be, which is going to affect the organic matters here. As you see the plankton here, plankton, it means the floated sea creatures which is nearby the surface of the earth, responsible for as you see التركيب الضوئي and photosynthesis. All these, in case it is going to expose to the dead, it will be accumulated in the bottom of the sea level. And also, all the plants, forests, plantation areas, due to the subsidence will be changed completely to cool by the affections or the instability. As I told you before, in first course I will explain in details that the earth is not a static body. The earth is a dynamic body. So because it is a dynamic body, nothing will be stay as it is. Everything is going to change, everything is going to convert to nothing. This is the type of organic matters. This types of polynomorphs is going to generate oil. As you see, this is the types of dinoflagellate. Dinoflagellate are very minute sea creatures, but it must be available in tremendous amounts, billions of organic matters which is accumulated in the basin. The body of these types of organic matters have a carbohydrate, proteins, and lipids. In case it is going to decay, all these organic matters, of course, is going to change in order to be hydrocarbons, whether it is an oil or gas. But mainly here, by dinoflagellate, it's going to generate oil. Otherwise, this is the types of phytoplankton, phytoclasts. It means plant cuticles. These plant cuticles, in case it is affected by temperature or any bacterial activity or attraction, it's going to generate only gas. Maybe free gas, maybe associated gas. Otherwise, this is the type of spores and pollens. Spores and pollens, which is completely transported from the continents to the marine environment and will be subjected to so many processes in order to be to generate oil. These types of organic matters will not stay as it is. It was here, as you see, it was a particulate organic matters. Particulate organic matters, in case it is accumulate beneath the surface of the earth, already the anaerobic bacteria is going to attack it. In case it attacks the organic matter, it will convert it to amorphous organic matter. This is the results of attactions of bacteria. The attactions of bacteria to the organic matters will be converted to amorphous organic matters, or it is going to lose their shapes. So here you cannot say this is a particulate organic matters. No any evidences of particulations here. Due to the attactions of bacteria and anaerobic bacteria, it will change it. So it means in case we find these types of, in slides, types of these organic matters, we can say that this is a promising area for generates oil. Also, at that time, we are going also to depend on vertical draining, horizontal draining, and as you see here, we are going to find non-associated gas, and here it is associated gas with oil, and all the attempts is going to find a suitable way how to extract oil from the oil wells. For example, in case we are going to do any evaluation for the countries which is depending on taking the procedures, as you say, end to end, the most important things which have been done here is to choose the area, the suitable area. After exploration, after the process of exploration, we should identify and focus on the promising area that is going to generate oil by evaluation, licensing prospect, and appraising prospect, and also planning, execute, full field development, and we will see whether it is optimized production as we see here. All my talks formally is indicating on the exploration methods, and exploration here depends on, as you see here, the geophysical study. This is the consequences of geophysical and definite geophysical study here, giving us an information which is available here, and we must put our decision, take a decision. Where should we invest? Where should I invest? Also, in case we are going to find, will I make money? Will I make money here? We must ask ourselves, in case there is no making money, this is a waste of time. This is not a suitable way to do any project here. So also after exploration, we need to do appraising. So this is the appraising also. It depends on, can we safely drill a well cut, or how will drill the well? What happened while drilling? As you see, we ought to notice and to focus for all points which I've been mentioned here, because any lack, or in case you are not going to take any attention for each procedure which have been mentioned, it means there is a lack in our work, maybe causes a catastrophe, or maybe causes a great damage for our work. So we ought to avoid it. Also, after appraising, it needs to follow the development method. Development method is how to develop the well by cleaning, by acidization, by so many ways, by injections of gases and boiling water. All these things are going to develop the oil. So we are, in case we are going to drill any oil well, the expectations is we are going to gain and take only a 15%. And the other 85%, I think it is going to lose. So how to develop? So here we need to develop the oil wells in order to get almost all the oil which is accumulated in that area. And also production, as you see here, production and analyzing, it takes too much time, but this time is for our benefit because the cash flow is, we are here to take money or to gain money here. And production analyzing depends on how is the field performing today. In case it is performing good, it means everything is all right. Otherwise, the performing is not good, we must stop. We must take a decision whether we are going to carry on or stop the work. How will the field perform tomorrow? Also, we are going to look forward for tomorrow. Is the work is continuously going well or forward? What was the successful in phase one? Also, we should, in case we are going to take another decision, we change in phase two in any decision. So the enhancement here needs also to take certain procedures, and here we are going to inject steam to the oil wells, and this type of steam is going to make the oil accumulations hot, and hot oil, it means no waxes, no any residuals going to plug in the oil and not allow the oil to exhaust from the oil well. After that, I think the oil production will be very important. As you see here, the procedures of injection of carbon dioxide beneath the surface of the earth, and this gases is going to the area of mixing with the oil masses. After that, the liquefaction is needed here in order to get much more oil here. So operation. After the end of our speak is to depend on how to operate the oil, how to gain or how to consider that our work is on a supergiant oil field here by how much is the field producing. This is very important thing because you are not going mainly depend on oil which is not enough, or you must also determine the real reservoir, how much your reservoir is big and how much the oil reserved in your area. After that, you are going to determine exactly how much you are going to produce oil from this area. Also, you ought to notice, are there any problems? In case there is any problems, you ought to solve it as quickly as possible. Also, we can make anything better. Of course, we can make it better in case we are following a suitable procedures or depending mainly on how to behave with the oil, not by going to inject salt waters to the formations and you are going to deform it, and you are going to do certain problems, and deformation here is not for the benefit or for the future, for the decision of the future. We are going to block the oil from being exhausted by the area you have been determined. As you see here, the curve here, the green curve, means that in case we are following the systematic way, this is the red curve, this is the systematic way. When we follow the instructions as I mentioned it before, from the beginning, from the initial work to the final work, it means we are going to not spending too much money, and we have also gaining too much money here, and doing our work is better. And everything must be just look like pipelines. This is the pipeline of the potential of investment. I am here going to tell you why I call this lecture as end-to-end. In case we are beginning with this end, we ought to reach to the other end. And this end is related to the other end. So everything is related here by end-to-end. It begins with geosciences, which have been our students. We are dealing with geosciences here. And also, in case we determine that this is a suitable or a systematic area for investment, already we are taking care of reservoirs, المكامن, and geomechanics. We can divide it from upstream to downstream, and this is the middle stream. Upstream, geosciences, exploration, and reservoir management, and geomechanics, and drilling and completion depends mainly on, as you see, the production, which is the most important thing on the other hand. So decision space information management and the platform depends on the portfolio of exploration ranking and delineation, appraisal planning, and operation optimization. I think in Iraqi oil fields, we have a supergiant oil fields. Iraq considered as the second country in the world that have a supergiant oil field. And I think for the near futures, we are going to follow all the procedures that keeping our oil from being deformed and to keep our oil being favorable for the world market, in case we are going to follow the scientific procedures, which is beginning from from A to Z, as I see here, from end to end. So this is the end, but this is not completely the end because we are dealing with the other end.
How our study as a geophysics related to your lecture and to your process of oil industry? What is our role in this in your lecture?
And
what do you do when we graduate? What our work
Okay. This is two questions, not one. First of all, as you see, and as I mentioned before, from the beginning, the first step we have been taken is to depend on the consequences of the geophysical work. In case there is a good results, as you say, a suitable or a systematic shapes for all the geophysical studies, we ought to determine here that the geophysicist is going to determine the structures, the suitable structure, whether it is a domal, whether this is a series of domal structures, whether there is a certain movements in the earth, which is the geoscientist or who's following the geophysics to determine that this is a promising area for generate soil. After that, we need to have samples from that area by following the geochemical ways. After that, we are going to determine which, in case this is the area, is suitable to generate soil or not. So I think this is the most important thing before we are going to do anything.
That's our part are necessary or essential.
Of course, this is the fundamental steps. Of course. And after that, and you are going to decide here whether you are going to work in a suitable case. I hope so, because everybody knows here, and our strategy in Iraq now is how to build a systematic map and to indicate the virgin areas which we are going to study in the future. So in case you are going to understand all all I have been mentioned it by your subjects. I think it will be easy by training and by field trips. You can easily determine your field of work, your spread in using your field of interest. Thank you very much, Aya. So many decades, Iraq depends mainly on Iraqi companies and also the foreign companies which is working in Iraq. They put a certain strategy in Iraq, and they are referring to suitable oil fields in Iraq, and also determine the promising area that generates oil on all over Iraq. So we are optimized to depend mainly on the modern and update technology. So as I mentioned in so many lectures here, we are going to make depend on how to emerge a new technologies and put it in our lands, and we must also depend mainly on it, because the consequences of the good results means we are going to exhaust so many or huge quantities of oil which is produced in our lands. As I told you here, that as you see the pipeline, I will I do something to make you understand that we are depending on how much our optimization, how much we are going forward to do our work. In case we are understand all the strategy of work, and beginning with the good exploration, I think in case we are going to work day by day and 24 hours a day, it means we are going to reduce the time. And when sometimes the security conditions will affect our work due to, we are these areas far from the center of the city. After that, it takes too much time, I think so. But in case we are started, I think the fluent work is to do all the procedures until we reach to the end of our work. Reducing the cost depends on which is the way or the right way we are following it to produce oil. Some of oil companies here is injecting a saline or hypersaline waters, which is taken from the sea and injected to the oil wells. So at that time, they are going all to deform, causes deformation damage for the rocks, because as you see here, the scale is going to consist when the mixing with hypersaline water with the water itself, which is existed beneath the surface of the earth. Two different densities between waters is going to consist scales. Scale is particulate matters, which is going to plug in the porosity, affecting the permeability of the earth. This is a cheap way. In case we are dependent on injections of carbon dioxide, this is a suitable way, I think, also to mitigate CO2 from the atmosphere and to inject it beneath the surface of the earth. And at that time, you are going to develop the production, but it needs money, it needs high cost. This is the matter. Thank you very much.